Hello students, myself Jinali Shah from Saraswat International Academy. Today we will begin with the next part of our chapter, The Living World. In the last videos we have studied regarding the various characteristics of living organisms, and these characteristics helped us to differentiate a living organism from a non-living organisms. The characteristics which we studied were growth, reproduction, metabolism, consciousness, and lastly we studied regarding the cellular organization. Now today we will begin with the next part of the chapter, that is the diversity in the living world. We know the meaning of the term diversity. Diversity means variety. So earth inhabits variety of living organism. Earth is a home for lot many of organism. So earth hosts a vast variety of living organisms. Students, according to the survey, the number of species known and described are approximately 1.7 to 1.8 million. So the survey suggests that till now approximately 1.7 to 1.8 millions of species are known and described. So this is biodiversity. What is biodiversity? It means the entire number and types of organisms present on earth. The total number and the types of the organisms which inhabit the earth is called as the biodiversity. Now this word I can break, it will be easier for you to remember its meaning. Biodiversity. Bio, it means biological. Diversity means variety. Biological, that is living organisms. So, variety of the living organisms which inhabit the earth and their total number, what is it called as? It is called as the biodiversity. Now students, you should remember that biodiversity is not only meant for the existing life form. See, existing life forms, we know that approximately there are 1.7 to 1.8 millions of the species known and described. But students, biodiversity, it is not limited to the existing life forms. It also explores the new organisms which are being continuously added. As we explore the new land areas, as we explore the new species, there might be possible that new and new organisms could get added. So basically, this large number of organisms, they cannot be identified and studied without the proper classification system. We know that variety of living organisms inhabit the earth, and it is not possible to study this large number of organisms without the proper system of classification and nomenclature. It is not possible for us to describe, or it is not possible for us to study these organisms without the proper classification system and the naming system. So students, there is a branch of biology which basically deals with the identification, classification and naming of the organisms. There is a branch in a field of biology which concerns basically with the identification, classification and naming of the organisms, and that branch of biology is the systematics. So we will deal with the term systematics. Now students, the word systematics, it is derived from Latin word systema. The word systematics is derived from the Latin word systema. So what is the meaning of the term systema? It means the systematic arrangement of the organism. So basically the field of systematic deals with the proper arrangement of the organisms based on their morphological and anatomical characteristics. So this field basically of arrangement of organisms according to the morphological and anatomical characters. That field of the biology is called as systematics. Now, basically the name of the scientist Linus, the full name is Carolus Linus. He used the Systema Naturae as the title of his book. So he is basically a biologist who used the term Systema Naturae as the title of his book, and basically the term systematics was also coined by scientist Linus. Very important, who coined the term systematics? So it was coined by the scientist Carolus Linus. So if we briefly define systematics, what is it? So it is a branch of science that deals with the unique properties of species and groups to recognize, describe, name and arrange the diverse organisms according to the organized plan. So students, what is basically systematics? So systematics is the field of science which deals with the properties of the species. Species are the living organisms. Mainly which properties it deals with? Morphological as well as the anatomical properties. And it groups these organisms. How it groups? Basically, it groups the organisms to recognize, describe and name and arrange the diverse organisms according to the organized plan. So basically there is a systematic way or plan given to describe the organisms, and according to this the organisms will be described, they will be named, they will be recognized. So basically systematics is a field of science which deals with the unique properties of species and groups to recognize, describe, name and arrange the diverse organisms according to an organized plan. Clear, students? Now students, there are two terms. One is taxonomy, one is systematics and another one is taxonomy. So basically taxonomy is also a field of science which deals with identification, classification and nomenclature of organisms, which we will be studying in the later part of the chapter. But biologists, they use the term taxonomy and systematics interchangeably. Now, what studies are included in the field of systematics? Systematics deal with identification, it deals with classification and finally it also deals with the nomenclature of the organisms. So, we will be studying then identification, nomenclature and classification. So first thing included in the systematics is identification. So what do you mean by the term identification? So basically identification, its aim is to find the correct name and appropriate position of an organism. To find the correct name and position of an organism into a known classification system, that is called as the identification. What do you mean by the term identification? Basically, it aims to find the correct name of the organism as well as it aims to find the correct position of the organisms. Position basically according to the known plan of the classification systems. There are various classification systems which we will be dealing in the later part of the chapters. Now, the morphological and anatomical characters are examined for proper identification. What is the aim of identification? To name or to find the correct name as well as to find the appropriate position of an organism. Now, to find the correct name and to find the position of an organism, what features are used? So basically the morphological and the anatomical characters of an organism are examined, are studied to find the correct name and position of an organism. Now here there are two terms, one is morphological and another one is anatomical. So basically the study of the external characters of an organism. So basically to study the size, form, shape, etc. of an organism, it is called as the morphology. And to study the internal characters of an organism, what do you mean by that? It means anatomy. So basically the study of the tissues, the study of the internal organs, etc. All those study is called as the anatomy. So basically this is the field of systematics. Systematics means the systematic arrangement of the organisms. And for the study of systematics, identification, classification and nomenclature are included. So we have studied regarding the identification. Now we will deal with the classification part of the systematics. Now students, as I told you, systematic includes the process of identification, classification and nomenclature, right? So now the next part dealing with the field of the systematics is classification. Now students, there are wide variety of living organisms found on this particular earth. Now we need to basically study them, we need to arrange those organisms. So that field is called as the classification. So students, so now we need to classify the organisms, because to identify all the organisms, to study the all organisms, it is very difficult. So to deal with that, there is a field called as the classification. So what is classification? General classification. What do you mean by the term classification? To classify, to categorize something, that is called as classification. To categorize something into groups, subgroups, etc. What is that process called as classification? So what is classification? It is a process by which the things are grouped into different categories based on some easily observable characters, right? What is classification? It is basically the process of grouping of the things into different categories based on the observable characters. What is that called as classification? Say for example, in kitchens we organize the vessels. So that organization of the vessels into the kitchen based on the size of the vessels, based on the shape of the vessels, what is that called as classification? Same way the living organisms are also classified. And what is that called as? That is called as the biological classification. So what is biological classification? Basically it is the scientific arrangement of the organisms in the hierarchy of groups and subgroups on the basis of the similarities and differences in their characters. So what do you mean by the term biological classification? First of all, biological classification. It is the classification of living organisms. These living organisms will be placed in the groups, subgroups. Hierarchy means levels. There are different levels of classification which we will be dealing in the later part of the chapter. But what is biological classification? It is the scientific way of arranging the organisms into hierarchy of groups. Hierarchy means levels of organization. So hierarchy of groups and subgroups. Now how are these living organisms classified? They are classified on the basis of the similarities and differences in their characters. How are they classified? They are classified on the basis of the similarities and differences in the characters. Say for example, if we found some organism, it is having roots, it is having leaves, then where will I place? I will place that. See, roots and leaves, they are easily observable. So I will place them in what? I will place them into the plants. Suppose I found an organism with 4 legs, it is able to move. So of course I will place it into the group called as the animals. So based on the observable characters, the organisms are arranged into the groups and subgroups. This scientific arrangement of the living organisms in the hierarchy of groups and subgroups on the basis of their similarities and differences in the characters, what is that field called as? It is called as the biological classification. This part we will be studying in detail in the next chapter as well as in the later part of this chapter 2. Now, systematics also includes the nomenclature. So, the third thing included in the field of the systematics is nomenclature. Now, basically nomenclature, it means naming of organisms. What do you mean by the term nomenclature? It means the naming of the organisms. Now, students, we know the living organisms by their common names, right? We know the living organisms, the name of the organisms by their common names. So first of all, what is nomenclature? So basically it is a system of naming the living organisms in a way that a particular organism is known by the same name all over the world. We know the living organisms we know the living organisms by their common names. And students, this common names varies from country to country as well as it varies from, basically the same organism will be known by the different names even in the same country, right? The common names may vary from place to place. So, there needs a procedure where we know the living organism by the same name all over the world, and that field of science dealing with naming the organism and to know the organisms by the same name all over the world, that field is called as the nomenclature. It is the system of naming the living organisms in a way that a particular organism is known by the same name all over the world. If an organism is known by the different names, we know the organisms by their common names, and common names varies from countries to countries as well as it varies from place to place within the same country too. Now, to avoid the confusion, suppose I say, for example, in Gujarati we called cat as Biladi. Now suppose I go to some other country and I say the word Biladi. Will the person of that country easily recognize that particular animal? No, because in that particular country the Biladi will be known by some other name. So to avoid this confusion, there is the arrangement made in the field of biology where the living organisms are given the name, a scientific name, and this scientific name remains same all over the world. It never changes. So, these are the examples of some common names of an organisms. Say for example, rose. So, rose, these are the basically common names in our country. So, basically India is a country and in different places of our country, a particular organism is known by the different names. Say for example, rose, it is called as gulab in Hindi, it is called as golab in Bangla, whereas it is called as rajapo in Tamil. So you can say in our country also the organism rose is known by the different names. Same way dog, which is called as kutta in Hindi, kutro in Gujarati, kukur in Bangla, nai in Tamil. So these are the different names of dog. In our country itself, cat, it is known as billi in Hindi, biladi in Gujarati, ponai in Tamil, marjara in Sanskrit. Similarly, ginger, it is called as adrak in Hindi, shunti in Kannada, ele in Marathi, ada in Bengali. So here you can see that the local names, which are also called as the vernacular names. So the local names basically of an organisms are given in a specific language in a particular region. We Gujarati, so we being Gujarati, say for example I am living in Gujarat, I am Gujarati. So basically I know cat as Biladi. So what is the condition? The local names. How are local names given? The local names are given in a specific language in a particular regions. And as there are variety of local names, and through local names it creates the confusion. So to avoid this confusion, what is given? The scientific name is given to an organism. So basically this scientific method of naming the living organisms in such a way that particular organism is known by the same name all over the world, what is it called as? Nomenclature. So what do you mean by nomenclature? Naming an organism in such a way that it is known by the same name all over the world, and that method is the scientific method. So how the living organisms are named, we will be studying in the next part of the chapter. Now students, I told you that common names, it varies from country to country as well as it may vary from place to place within the same country. So an organism is known by different name all over the world. To avoid this confusion, the scientific names are given to organisms, and this scientific name remains same throughout the world. So now we will study regarding the naming of the organisms in a scientific way. So organisms are given which name? They are given the scientific name. So basically the scientific names are given by a biologist. Who give the scientific name? They are given by the biologist. Now, each name represents a particular organism all parts of a world. Say for example, the Mangifera indica. It is a scientific name of mango. So now, if we say Mangifera indica, it indicates mango in all parts of the world. Whether you are in Australia, whether you are in America, whether you are in India. Mangifera indica, it means what? It means mango. So basically each name represents a particular organism all over the world. It is not like that in our country Mangifera indica means mango, in other country it means banana. No. Each and every scientific name, it represents a particular organisms all over the world. So, this system of providing the scientific names is called as the binomial nomenclature. So, the method of naming the scientific name is called as the binomial nomenclature. Two words are there. Binomial. Bi, it means two. Nomenclature, it means naming. So binomial nomenclature. So what is binomial nomenclature? So first of all, who developed this method of naming the organism? It was scientist Carolus Linnaeus. Linnaeus was the scientist who developed the scientific way to name the organisms. Now, according to this method, each organism's name consists of two words. Students, very important. Binomial. Two. Naming. The nomenclature, it means naming. So each organism's name consists of two words. What do you mean by binomial nomenclature? Each organism's name consists of two words. So scientific name, it consists of two words. So which are those two words? One is the first word in a scientific name is the generic name, and the second word in the scientific name is called as the specific epithet. What is binomial nomenclature? The scientific name of an organism consists of two words. So basically a name of an organism consists of two words. So which are those two words? The first word in a scientific name, the first word in a scientific name is a generic name, and the second word in the scientific name is called as the specific epithet. Generic name, it means the name of the genus of an organism, and the specific epithet is the name of the species of an organism. Say for example, the mango. So, the scientific name of mango is Mangifera indica, in which Mangifera indicates the genus of mango and indica indicates the species of mango. So, here mango is known by a scientific name whose scientific name is Mangifera indica. The first word represents genus, second word represents species. Now I have underlined these two words separately. Why I have underlined these words separately? We will deal with the next part. But this is the scientific name. A scientific name is a name which consists of the two words. One is Mangifera and another one is the indica. Mangifera indicates the genus name and indica indicates the species name. Now, what are the rules for naming the organisms? How are the rules? What needs to be followed to give a scientific name to an organism? So, rules of binomial nomenclature. Students, these rules were initially framed by Linus, and the details of these rules are mentioned in his book. The one book is Species Plantarum and another book is Systema Naturae. These are the two books of Linus where the rules to name the organisms are given. Later these rules were revised by the following nomenclature codes. These rules were later revised. Initially, the rules were framed by Carolus Linus and the rules are mentioned in his book Species Plantarum and Systema Naturae. Later, the rules given by Linus, they were revised. Certain changes were made in the rules given by Linus. And those revised rules are given by the following nomenclature codes. So, which are those nomenclature codes? One is ICBN, International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. So, suppose an organism is found, we need to name this organism, and that organism is a plant. So, for naming that plant, which rules should be followed? The rules mentioned under the code of International Code for Botanical Nomenclature. Same way ICZN, International Code of Zoological Nomenclature. So, to name an animal, the rules given by ICZN, they should be followed. Then there is ICVN, International Code for Viral Nomenclature. So basically the rules for naming the virus are given or are mentioned in this particular nomenclature code. Then there is the International Code of Bacteriological Nomenclature. So basically to name the bacteria, the rules mentioned under the International Code of Bacteriological Nomenclature, they should be followed. And finally, International Code of Nomenclature for Cultivated Plants. So, to name the cultivated plants, Say for example, some new species have been found through tissue culture technique, etc. And to name that, they should be using the International Code of Nomenclature for cultivated plants. So basically, how to give the scientific name that was given by Linus, later the rules given by Linus, certain changes were made by this following nomenclature codes. So now we will study what are the rules given by Linus and nomenclature codes to study or to give the name to the organism. So we will study that rule. Now students, what are the universal rules for naming the organisms? Now before that, who have given these rules? I already told you the rules were framed by Linus as well as by the nomenclature codes. There were 5 different nomenclature codes. So those nomenclature codes and Linus, they framed the laws, they framed the rules, they framed the principles to name the organisms. So what are the rules formed by them? So first important rule is the biological names, they are in Latin language and are written in italics. So always the biological name will be in the Latin language and it should be written in italics. They are Latinized or derived from Latin irrespective of the origin. Whatever is the origin of organism or of the name of the organism, always it should be Latinized or it should be derived from the Latin language. Now as I told you, biological name consists of 2 words. The first word is called as the genus and the second component is called as the specific epithet. The first name indicates the genus name and second one indicates the specific name. Now, both the words of the biological word, when handwritten, they should be separately underlined, and when they are printed, it should be printed in italics to show the Latin origin. Now, to show that the word is derived from the Latin language or it is Latinized, when the words are handwritten, both the words are underlined separately, and when they are printed or typed, they are typed in italics, and this indicates their Latin origin. Now, the first word, which is a genus, it should start with the capital letter, and the specific name, it should start with the small letter. Say for example, Mangifera indica. Right. Now as I have written this word, I am separately underlining this word. Now see, this is a genus name, right? And it begins with what? It begins with the capital letter. And second word is a species name. And this species name, you see, it begins with the small letter. Suppose if I write Mangifera indica in this manner, then here you can see that M here is capital, which is for genus, but in this species name, as I have begun with a capital letter, it indicates that this particular name is written in a wrong manner. Same way, suppose if I write Mangifera indica and I am underlining in this manner, so I am following one rule. The name of the genus name is with the capital letter, species name is with the small letter, but I have not separately underlined this word. So again this indicates that it is written in the wrong manner. So you need to follow the rules. Whenever you write the scientific name, you should always keep in mind that the name of the genus should begin with the capital letter, name of the species should begin with the small letter, and both the words should be separately underlined. This is the correct way of naming an organism in a scientific way. Last rule here is name of the author basically appears after the specific epithet, or you can say at the end of the biological name, and is written in an abbreviated form. The scientist, the author who gave that name, should be written at the end of the species name, or you can say at the end of the biological name. The name of the author should be written in abbreviated form, short form, at the end of the biological name. This name should neither be underlined nor it should be printed in italics. Very, very important. It should neither be underlined nor should be printed in italics. Here LIN indicates Linus. The scientific name of mango, that is Mangifera indica, it is given by Linus. So students, these are the general rules for naming the organisms. Apart from this, there are certain other rules too, and that rules differ for plants, animals, etc. Say for example, tautonyms. Tautonyms are the words where genus and species name will be same. So that tautonyms are allowed to name an animal, but they are not allowed for naming the plants. Say for example, Rattus rattus. So here this is a genus name which is Rattus, species name Rattus. Both the words are same. This is a scientific name for rat. So here you can see that the two words are similar, but this rule is not applicable to name the plants. Clear students? So these are the general rules for naming the organisms. Biological name should be in Latin language. Either they should be Latinized or are derived of the Latin language. First word is the genus name, second one is the species name. When the biological name is handwritten, it should be underlined. When it is printed, it should be in italics, which indicates their Latin origin. The genus name should begin with capital letter, specific name should begin with the small letter, and the name of the author who have given this name should be written in an abbreviated form at the end of the biological name. So these are the general rules for naming the organisms. Students, today we have covered the systematics, which includes identification, classification and nomenclature. Today we come to end of our video. In the next lectures we will be studying in detail regarding the taxonomy and classification of organisms. Thank you students.